Hello everyone, it's Dragana at Saacibo. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a scrapbusting project for you. We are making tabs, but not just any tabs, we're making removable or floating tabs. These tabs work as paper clips but without paper clips. And they also work great as closures to envelopes. And what's really great about these tabs, not only that they're easy to do, you will get through a lot of your scraps very quickly and you'll end up with a whole heap of these cute tabs, and that's very useful to have for your journals. I always run out of paper clips and tabs, and I love hidden paper clips. This is the same look but much easier to do. You don't actually need any special equipment or cutters or anything like that, but if you have some eyelets and these pliers, that would be great. If you don't worry, you'll still be able to do this, and I will explain later on how. I've sort of grouped everything that I've done in several groups so that I can explain easier. I'll start with this group here. I made them double-sided, okay, with a little bit of ribbon there and a place for charms, and decorated with book pages and some little images. These are freebies, that one as well, that one too, and I've got this one here. Okay, really like that one. I'll just show you how they work. Okay, as I said, they can serve as paper clips because you can tuck extra things there. I suppose you can glue them to the page if you want them to be fixed, but I like mine to be floating because I constantly change things around in my journals. Let's take a look on this side. That's what's great about them. They look good on both sides. Love them. And these were made from recycled clothing tags. That one was made with that, and that one too. And if you wonder about the size, it's really all just whatever you have, whatever you feel like. There's no set size. You can make them large, you can make them small, as you will see in a second. All right, so that's those ones. If you have some clothing tags that you want to recycle. Now let's take a look at this group. I've made these with pieces of scrapbooking paper. I had pieces like that. Larger ones to make a large tab and smaller ones to make a smaller tab. Okay, these are all just irregular pieces of scrapbooking paper, and I made this one to go on top because you can have tabs like that to go on top. They don't have to be on the side. Okay, love that one. And that's the other side. I think it's so cute. And I even created a little pocket here, and I put some of this grass that I dried and pressed. So that is that group. Put that aside. Then I have this group here. They're a little bit irregular shaped. Aren't they just gorgeous? I really like those. Let's test them out. I love that. All right. I've used one of the freebies with mushrooms, colored with markers, and just used the round punch. I've decorated this side just with a bit of lace and that butterfly. This was looking alright, so I didn't have to do much. And then on this side, I've added this image. Actually, that's a new freebie. There it is. Although this is the right size, I've just printed it smaller. And it's got 3 pages. That one, and that one. That's part 4. And this was out earlier this week. Part 3. And there'll be 2 more parts to this digital kit. So keep your eye out. They're all on my website, free for you to download. No need to register or pay or leave your details. All right, so these were made also with leftover pieces. I had these when I was making specimens. So they all seem to be like the same size, you see. So they work really great as tabs I really love this look that is a little bit unexpected. I'll just go now to this one. I looked at my scraps and I found a lot of these square bits. They're perfect squares, and that happens when you make specimens such as this one. You always end up with that square piece left. And I had quite a few that were the same or coming from the same paper, so I've created some of these tabs with the squares. I think these 3 would be perfect for a travel journal. I didn't do anything on the back. I'll just show you how they work. August. That one's June. I'm just pretending that I have travel plans for August, July, and June next year. Love how that turned out. I suppose instead of these hanging charms with the month names, you can type or write months here directly on the tab. And I just used some stamps, original stamps, to decorate. Really love these ones. They were the easiest to create. I'll just show you one more example of those. It's in my new little journal that I made recently, just with an envelope and that freebie. And I write ideas for my videos here. I closed it all like this. I don't want to spoil the surprise for you. And then here, materials, if I need to get something specific for the videos or for that tutorial. And also the inspiration, because I love to know where I got the inspiration from. So you can make them matching like that. That's also nice. All right, which group should we look at now? Let's look at this one. These ones here were made with circular and oval shapes, such as these ones, okay? Also leftover pieces from when I was making specimens, but with the circular opening. Okay, so I love this little one, so cute. It's got a butterfly here, and then that one is also made with an oval shape. Really cute. And then these 2, they were meant to go at the bottom of the page like this, so you can turn it that way or this way. And if you happen to have some round punches, larger ones would be better. You can create these cute little floating tabs with punches, oval punches or round ones. So you can trace around a glass and then cut. It doesn't have to be perfect. You know, you don't have to have all this fancy equipment to do this. When I look back, some of the best things that I've done were done by hand. Let's take a look at these ones. These were just so cute, I think. Look at them. They have these cute shapes, and they were not cut with special punches, like, you know, one of those punches that are just for tabs. Great little tabs, or even paper clips. These can also go on top, on the side, or even on the bottom, because there's no text, so you don't really see direction. Okay, the only thing I would change for the top one is instead of a charm, I would put just an extra piece of ribbon. It's just more practical like that. And these were made again with the leftover pieces from when I was making these specimens. I used these die cutting shapes to cut out that frame, and I was left with all these pieces. I've been just hoarding them and never really knew what to do with them, and then it occurred to me that because they're so symmetrical, they would be great for making tabs. So let's make a few. What should we do first? Let's make the square ones first. Let's just take this rust dyed paper. For this look you need a square piece. These are 2.5 inches, or 6 centimeters, but they can be smaller, maybe 5 centimeters or 2 inches. As long as you have enough here. So you just fold them like this. And it would be nice to round this part here. I've rounded these a little bit more than that one. And then I just cut this part here straight. Just use something that can be a guide. For example, like that. Placed it in the middle of that. And then I just cut. And that is it. So now I just ink around. Now, for this to work, you need to put at least 2 eyelets or glue that part completely. Now, I've been doing all of these with eyelets because I like the look, but if you don't have eyelets, you can still do this. You can just apply the glue here, only up to that part, and then you close it. You can still punch holes even without eyelets, it would work. The reason I'm saying at least 2 eyelets is, have a look at this one. I've made this one like so on purpose, and if you were to attach this one with just 1 eyelet, this is what would happen. Okay, it's not gonna stand properly, it will just keep doing that. So you need at least 2. And they can be spaced out further apart or closer, but at least 2, or just glue the whole thing together there and leave that part open. All right, I like to put them there, but I can have even 3 here. You know, I can have 4, you can have more of them, but 2 is the minimum for that to work if you're going to use this method with eyelets. So we'll just construct a few and then we'll decorate them together. Decorating them is the best part. All right, so that is it. Let's make one without the eyelets so that you can see how that is done. Ink. This is just so much fun. I was going to do this video 3 days ago and then I just kept making more. I couldn't stop because I know once I finish the video I'll have to move on to something else, and I just didn't want to let it go. I wanted to keep creating more and more tabs. All right, so now I put the glue just there. And then I just close it. Okay, I wouldn't test it before the glue dries. Okay, June, July, August. They're also a freebie from 2 or 3 years ago when we've done these charms with plastic cards. That's plastic. We're going to decorate that later on. Let's create one of these. So what I do with these, I basically just fold them in half. Bring those edges together and I just fold. And although it is a thick cardstock, it still works. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing this with just copy paper. You need some structure, so if nothing else, grab some of the recycled cardstock or clothing tags. Okay, I'm going to do these with eyelets like I've done there. So we're just doing construction now. We're going to decorate later on. I think I'm going to go with silver eyelets here. with the gold ones. Let's ink this a little bit more. Just so glad I finally find a way to use these bits. Let's make a few round ones. I think that one would look nice. And with these ones, as you can see, you can fold them like that. But I find it's much easier to add them to the journal when they're like this uneven. It's actually easier to slide. You just push on that and it opens up and then you slide. And let's make one of these little ones. Well, let's use that one. I will do that. Let's ink them. This is not double-sided scrapbooking paper. This part is white, so I'm just gonna go like this. Looks good. And because I have text here, and if I do the bottom one, that's kind of alright, but that's upside down. So I think it would be better if I make this into a side tab. This one too, just because of the text. I go with the gold ones on this one and black on that one. Now let's make one of these. I love these. We've done something similar last year, or was it year before, when we've done signature covers like that with 6x6 papers. I want to make one like that actually, because I want to use that latest freebie. I'm so inspired to use it. I'm going to go with this one because it has a clean background. So what you do, you just fold this something like that, just randomly. And maybe we'll make one like so. Let's go with that dyed paper. Just ink. Yeah, we should ink this side too. Because we have these corners showing. That's what we've done earlier this year with egg dyes and a bit of mica powder. I'm going to go with gold eyelets, and when you punch holes here, you do it from this side, because if you do it from that side, chances are you're going to miss this part of the paper. So it's best if you do it from that side, and then that one you do from that side too. Okay, and then you do just one approximately in the middle. And this is just optional. This is just because I like that look. But as I said at the beginning, 2 is sufficient. 1 is not enough, and you can certainly have more than 2. You can have as many as you can fit if you like that look. All right, and then here we'll do 2, but we won't put them so close to the edge. Something like that. This is good for my hand. So that's ready. These are a little bit more complex to do because you have a tag that has things on it that you want to cover. So I'll just grab one. I'll take that one. I will just fold it like so. I'll grab some book pages. When you want to cover with the book page, you've got to think about how you're going to use it. Is it going to be the side, the bottom, or the top? Because of the text, I wouldn't want to have text upside down. If I'm going to use it on the side, then the page should go like this. And now I can see that the book page I've chosen is not big enough for this, so I need a bigger book page. Let's see if that one is big enough. Yes, it is. All right. And you want a little bit here, okay, so that when you go over you don't see that part. I need to have enough here to go underneath, like so. And then that there. So I'll just put the glue over. You can use a glue stick for this. Should add the glue here. Suppose I can do that. It might look better if it's folded. Okay. And I could trim this or I can leave it. I think I want to round the corners. Okay, let's ink that. Really like these ones with book pages. I think black eyelets would look nice here. And that one's done. It's a great way to recycle these tags. These with scrapbooking paper. The last, I think I want to use this one. It's kind of nature inspired and autumn at the same time. Let's round it. And of course inking. I don't always like to ink everything, but lately kind of started liking that look more. I don't know why. Okay, I'll start with the top and bottom, and I think 2 would hold, but 3 would be better, simply because of the distance between those two. I think 3 would be alright, but it just looks nicer with 5, I think. Okay, what sort of eyelets should we use? I think black would look good. That part is done. We'll decorate later, and we'll make a top one, and perhaps even a bottom one like that, but with a square piece. Okay, this one would look good, either top or bottom, because the text is on the side actually, not upside down. It's round. Another thing I want to mention is that you can have fun with these edges too. You can perhaps use one of the scalloped scissors or zigzag scissors, or you can just cut any shape you like. And even if your scraps are irregular shape, if they're not cut straight, you can still do this, and I think that would be a nice grungy look to these tabs. For example, I'll just do this to demonstrate. For example, if I want to do that as the side one, I would fold it like so. And let's say that one of the edges of my paper were torn, like so. I would probably then do the same here. And that would still make a really nice tab. So it doesn't have to be straight or cut with scissors, or hang on, I'll just make this a little bit smaller. Okay. Yeah, I was saying it doesn't have to be cut with punches or scissors. It can be cut by hand or torn even, like that one. I wanted to do that one too, but I don't know if I'm gonna have time. Just fold it and then we'll see. If we have time, we'll make one. Let's do this one with a wavy cut. And one more example, this one here and that one there. So they were done with the glue and no eyelets. First I've glued them together and then I punched holes. Just added lace and ribbon there and I've done a little something with that one. Let's decorate some of these. I have some fabric and lace pieces here that I might use, and I've got some little images and stuff, mostly freebies, that I'm going to use to decorate. So I don't know which one to start with. I want to start with that one. I want to make another one of these. Just thinking which one to use. I think I like that one. I printed these at 50% the original image, and as you can see I printed on the label paper. Okay. At the beginning of the year, I had this idea in my head that I will complete all the projects and all the journals that I've started in the previous years. And I was doing fine up to a point, and then it got out of control. Now again, I have another 5 or 6 that I started, plus 5 or 6 from last year and the year before. Just not enough hours in a day to do everything that I want to. This is sticky already, so I'm gonna just place it there. I want to use these scissors just to cut around. They're either not as sharp as they used to be, or I have some glue here. Maybe I cut something that was sticky. But anyway, that's it. I don't know if you can see here on this one, I've actually stitched that image to that fabric. So I'm going to go and do that quickly. Should I place it on that side or on that one? I need to see it inside of the journal. Really love that look. Okay. I think something with that. I think I'm going to put it onto that side. I'm going to use silicone glue because I have the fabric. Take it and check if I need to add more glue here. Didn't want to go over. Okay. That's better. Okay, and what do we have on this side? We have a butterfly and a bit of that lace. Let's do something different here. I have this piece of fabric that was gathered, and then I can add that and maybe that flower. I think a brad would look good there. That, and that. Open that up like that. Let's grab some of that lace. That is just bulb pin with some beads, like so. Alright. Very pretty. It can serve as a paper clip too. On that side, it's even prettier. It's great to have lots of these on hand when you're making journals. Let's do this big one. I really like the big ones. Really great for nature journal. And I love the image on that side. But that's not bad either. And I found these. I stamped these leaves onto tissue paper, I think, with handmade stamps. Would that look good? Just those leaves. And then this quote. As long as autumn lasts, I shall not have hands, canvas, and colors enough to paint the beautiful things I see. Vincent van Gogh. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with that. Let's glue them down. I'm gonna start with that one first. That was a lot of fun making those stamps. I think I want to make more of these stamps with maybe mushrooms, maybe birds. I think we've done flowers, leaves, and butterflies. I'll think about it. I've started so many of these, but I don't think I can finish all of them unless this video is for like 2 hours. And I've applied glue to the wrong side of this leaf. And now I'm just gonna have to go with it. Let's turn this into a little pocket. And then maybe I can add that there, similar to what I've done here. I'm going to just cut that. That's good. Oh, let's try this. I think I'm going to go with that little ladybug there. I'll just use this. I'm going to put it here in the middle. I think a little bit of ruffle would look nice there, just here next to the edge. When I make these ruffles, I make them on some scrap paper because it's easier to glue later on. But this ruffle is actually smaller than the paper and I don't like the paper showing. So I'm just going to cut the paper off, or at least the parts that are showing. I'm going to go with that. Let's add some glue. You can spend a lot of time on one of these, or you can just do it quickly. It's totally up to you. Whatever you feel like. I think that butterfly would look good there. Let's add the butterfly. Gotta test it. Love these big ones. I think I should make more of them. So nice. So nice. Do we have time to do one more? Let's do that one that we've done with the clothing tag. I think I want one of these. A bird. Should we use a bird or a froggy? With that bug. Also got mushrooms. I want that one. Don't think it needs anything else. Or maybe a little bit of gauze would be nice behind it. With it. I don't know why, but anything done with book pages just looks so good. Just love that look. I mean, I love all the fancy and nice papers and pretty images, but book pages must be my favorite. When I was a child, when I still went to school, the beginning of September was back to school month, getting new books, and Mom would take us to the bookstore to get our books, and I would come home and I'd just flip through the books and smell them. It was the best smell in the world, the smell of new books. I don't know, am I weird for liking that? Anyone else likes the smell of books? Okay. We still have to think of something to put on the other side, because we want these tabs to look nice on both sides. Just going through my stash. Let's ink that. Maybe something behind it would look nice. The idea is to use something that you already have so that you get rid of those scraps rather than cut new stuff and create more scraps. I think I'm going to go with that. Just that piece of lace. And then the little owl. I'm super happy with that one. All right. I have to stop now, otherwise this video is going to get really long. I've really enjoyed myself, and honestly I could keep going. This is a lot of fun, and I hope it was fun for you watching. Hope it inspired you. Don't forget your freebie and use those scraps you might have and create these little trinkets for your journals. See you soon in the next video. Bye for now.